India is the world's largest and oldest democracy. Even as we speak, there is a yajna that is underway to construct the temple of democracy. Government says the building will portray India's rich cultural heritage. And like any vibrant democracy, the opposition is up in arms. They've gone hammer and tongs after the government, calling it a vanity project. But what is the ground reality? On India Today, we have both the Swapna Drishta, or the one who's seen that big dream. What is that big dream? And we also have the Swapna Srishta, somebody who turns that dream into reality. We have Hardeep Puri, Union Minister for Housing and Urban Affairs, and we have Bimal Patel, the architect of the project. Gentlemen, welcome on this special session of India Today Conclave. So when the Prime Minister returned from the United States, he went straight to see the project. It just shows that how important this project is for the Prime Minister. But sir, tell us about this new temple of democracy. What is that big vision around the Central Vista project and the new Parliament building?
Let me start by your first comment. The Prime Minister returned from his visit to the United States, and after a few hours, he made a surprise, unannounced visit to the Central Vista project. That is both a reflection, I think, of the importance he attaches to the project, but I think more so a reflection on the tight timelines that we are operating under. The first segment of that project is the Central Vista Avenue, which is the expansion of the Rajpath and several other works related to that, which has to be completed for us to be able to organize the Republic Day Parade on 26th January 2022 there. The other segment which is under construction is the new Parliament building, which again is under a tight timeline because it has to be readied for the winter session of Parliament around October 2022. Now, there's a narrative which has come up around the Central Vista. That narrative has various facets to it, some purely imaginary, some somewhat fanciful. All I can tell you is that the set of buildings which we now refer to as Central Vista, which means Parliament, the government buildings there, North Block, South Block, Rashtrapati Bhavan. If you reflect back, these were conceptualized, and Bimal will correct me, sometimes around 1910 plus. In fact, the Parliament building construction started around 1919 and was completed in 1926. It was never designed to be the Parliament or the bicameral legislature of an independent country. The independence of India was never on the horizon at that point of time, not when the conceptualization took place. It was designed to be the council house of a colonial power. These are the hard facts. The other buildings which now house the government were clearly inadequate, and inadequate to the extent that some 1,000 crores are being spent every year now, even after the haphazard and terrible construction which took place for housing the government. I'm referring to Shastri Bhavan, Nirman Bhavan, and these buildings, which came up in the 60s. So the need for modern, independent India to have a governance architecture where government can sit and do its work, and for Parliament, for members to be allowed to do their work with sufficient space and dignity. That was an imperative. That was a need felt long back. That was not a need which was suddenly discovered when Mr. Modi took over as Prime Minister.
Okay, but you know, okay, so let's split this into two parts. One is the Parliament building, the second is the Central Vista project. Mr. Patel, as the architect, what was the brief given to you for the Parliament building?
Well,
Yeah,
Am I
just keep it
on?
close to your, yeah.
yeah, very simple. Parliament has complex requirements. First of all, it's likely to be expanded, and so we had to create facilities where an expanded house can sit. We had to create facilities that would meet all the complex requirements that Parliament has, that was never there for the original, never fulfilled by the original building, and many complex requirements that have come up over time: security, communications, computers, IT, all of these have come up over time. So one of the key and most important things that was said was, make a building that functions well. And that's always been one of the prime things that the Prime Minister has looked for.
Make a building that functions well. The existing building clearly, was it functioning well? Was it not functioning well, Minister? And is the Prime Minister's approach very hands-on? I mean, considering he visited the site, but does he ask you for progress reports?
No, not at all, not at all. First of all, let me say that the fact that the current Parliament is not in a position to and does not have the capacity. But what has happened is that because the number of members have been increasing since we became an independent country, so there has been a lot of internal adjustments, new facilities have been added, 5 people are sitting where 2 should be sitting, you've gone behind the pillars, you've had to introduce air conditioning ducts, you've had to make other improvisation. So from a purely structural point of view, it's an unsafe building. When the building was constructed, it was in seismic zone 2. Today, that area is in seismic zone 4. And it's no exaggeration, and we don't want to create panic, but you're about pushing the limit, both in terms of the number of people you have there. And in fact, I think what Bimal used to do, at least in some of our earlier interactions, is to show you pictures of how it has been hollowed out and how it, yes, absolutely, make no mistake.
Can you explain hollowed up?
I'll explain. Obviously, the Parliament is functioning just now. I mean, business goes on. So it's not as if it's not functioning, but it's heavily stressed, is what ministers say. It's crowded. Its infrastructure is creaking. It's old. Many places, because the infrastructure was added later on, there is structural stress, and that's the kind of problem that we have. In any case, it's packed, jam-packed. And if the Parliament size is to go up, as it may after 26, then you definitely need a larger building and larger spaces.
See, the Parliament size has to go up because we are under a freeze on numbers on account of the delimitation exercise. And that period ends in 2026. That is 4 years from now, essentially. So you will not be, as it is, you're not in a position to, seat the number of members you have now. But more than that, surely an elected representative must be allowed to function with some dignity. In any parliament in the world, each one has a small little space where he or she can sit, where there's an assistant, a research facility, somewhere where people can sit. Now all you have is cramped 2 chambers and a central hall, which doubles up as a canteen or a restaurant. And because of the COVID, some of my friends in the distinguished 4th estate can't also come there. So it's just not in a position to allow members to even discharge their normal expected functions. And there's something more serious. You see, some of the construction which has been done on the first floor, that was never intended. And I think Bimal can tell you a little more about that. And the I mean, I'm now not talking as a structural engineer, but from what I've understood even then, these were points well understood even in 2008. The issue is, why didn't somebody do something about it earlier?
Yes, I think we've stressed that point enough that the building is under great stress.
So the Capitol building is 200 years old in the United States of America. It had structural issues. They kept adding on to it to meet modern requirements. Could that not be done here? Keep adding buildings.
It could have been done, but our chamber for the Lok Sabha was originally designed for 150 people. There are already 500 people sitting, and you want to put in 700 people, over 700 people. So simply no space. So it is not as if it was a building made for Parliament that is stressed. It's a building made for council house. It was a council house meant to house very few people, which we repurposed as Parliament of India. So now for the first time, we are getting a real Parliament for India.
You're saying for the first time we are going to get a parliament for real India. So if we were to look into the future, you're making this future ready for how many years?
250 years. Now, look, I always say, I mean, no matter which job I've held, I've always said, look, you plan today for tomorrow with all the possible inputs and suggestions that you can receive. When they built that council house, full marks to them. I think it was conceptualized around 1910 or so. That's why the building started. They were building for their own requirements. It was never intended to be a legislature. It was a council house, as Bimal says. More than that, all the other buildings that came up there were designed accordingly to serve the administrative and governance requirements of a power which perhaps thought it would be there for the next 100 years. They were not undertaking building for an independent India. More than that, you talk to the United States, that's an example you can cite. I would suggest that you take a list of all the countries which were under colonial domination, any period of time, put the date when they became independent, and put another column when they constructed their own buildings. And I think we are one of the last. I mean, and I can tell you this from my research as a student of history. I'm not saying that there is any prescribed time period, that if you became independent in 1947, you have to do it by 1955. No, there's nothing like that. But surely we have now enough documentation to say that governments prior to the Modi government had documented that requirement. There's a letter written by the permanent secretary, not the permanent, the secretary to the then speaker, my colleague in the Foreign Service, Srimati Meera Kumar, to the secretary in the Department of Urban Development during a Congress government, saying, look, this parliament is completely inadequate. Completely inadequate. We are not able to make arrangements here for the legitimate functions. So that was a given. Now what happened is, I can tell you the history after 2017 September, when I was inducted into the Council of Ministers, a lot of homework had been done. The homework consisted of, I mean, one of the first packets, big packs of documentation I inherited was, the architectural layouts and the pictures of what the, Central Vista-like thing were in other parts of the world. It was in 2019 that we opened up, I think it was a global tender for inviting designs, etc. I think September 2019. And by December, we got it done. It was a design competition, opens up to everybody. My friend Bimal, who's here with you and whom now is central to the entire project, you came on board sometime. The selection was done in December 2019. But before that, the thinking that there was a need and the method it would have to be done. So we are now at the initial stages, the first two segments. The next stage is, I think, 3 of those 9 office buildings, etc. And simultaneously, once you have the new parliament building done in October, hopefully by October 2022, the current one will be handed over for retrofitting and modernization. So all in all, that whole picture, the whole complex will come together. Central Vista is a general nomenclature given to the entire project itself.
which some tried to say was Prime Minister's vanity home worth 20,000 crore and so on. Minister, what would you tell those critics who said this was an absolute waste of money in terms of, you know, when you have Shastri Bhavan, Vigyan Bhavan, other buildings in that area, INGCA, why are you demolishing all those structures?
Well, first of all those who think that those buildings are worth retaining, I'd come and I have one of my offices in Shastri Bhavan. I'll invite you to come and have lunch with me and spend a little time with me. If you can navigate through the mess that is there in terms of parking and the state of the building, I'm sure by the time you've had lunch with me, you'll change your mind. But see, if someone still persists in questioning the need and using terms like vanity project, I mean, I'm in polite company, so I'll probably resist it. Resist saying what I want to. But I would say that, you know, get real. I mean, first of all, where is that figure coming from, 20,000 crores? You know, Bimal is in this business, I'm not. I mean, I'm housing minister for 4 years plus. The cost of the Central Vista Avenue, if memory serves me right, is about 400 crores. Okay? The cost of the Parliament, again, if memory serves me right, is about 860 crores. Huh? And we were losing what, 8,000 crores a year on Air India? Giving you a perspective. The amount of money we spend on rents for government buildings, that's a peculiar situation. Government is the landowner, okay, and we spend 1,000 crores on that. So where did this figure 20,000 crores come from? And there were more dramatic suggestions. Modi Mahal ban raha hai, 15,000 crore ka. Arey bhai, the Prime Minister's residence, along with the Vice President's residence, 9 buildings which will clear up Delhi, everything will move there in a modern, sustainable, efficient use of land. I mean, these are arguments Bimal and I have all the time. When I said, ek building retain kar le, Bimal says, no, it's not efficient. And I defer to his judgment.
Which building did you want to retain?
I can't tell you that.
Please tell us that.
No, it's not fair. It's not fair. But we'll come back to that in a minute. Now, you are able to get that. And I asked my colleagues in the ministry, I said, where is this 20,000 figure coming from? Because at the end of the day, the cost of the project will be determined on the basis of the tendered cost of each of those components. So 2 components we've done, 400 crores approximately and 860 crores. Next is those 3 buildings. I don't know when the tenders have probably gone out, but by the time they come back, we'll see what the bid. But I tell you, it's very competitive bidding. When I saw the bids for Parliament, they were very close to each other, and all companies which are world-class, world-class. I asked my colleagues, one of them dug out a figure that in some response to some internal environmental exercise, where you have to say, what is the likely project cost? I may be wrong on this because I'm speaking off the hat. Somebody mentioned a figure of 13,000 some 100 crores, 200 crores or something. Now, frankly, a $2.89 trillion economy becoming a $5 trillion economy by 2024, our gas and petrol and diesel consumption is back to pre-COVID levels, 10% higher for petrol. Let us say the cost is 15,000 crores. I can understand during the pandemic, there were guys out to create a false narrative, said, at this time, is this a priority? Arey bhai, project started before the virus reared its ugly head, and the project was going to result in infrastructure for the next 200 plus years. All right, during the pandemic, you can fault us if we did not put aside enough money for vaccines or for essential healthcare. But even that is proved to be untrue. So I think this was part of a false narrative. I was a bit rough with some of my retired senior colleagues during a press conference, and I said some things which I don't regret, frankly. But all I am saying is that, you know, before you produce a false narrative, you must have the guts to sustain it. These are shoot and scoot artists. They'll come up with something, they'll set up a false narrative, take a pot shot at it, and then you turn around and say, but I never said this. And they'll scoot. So Central Vista, I think, as far as the criticism is concerned, that's become muted. What we have to be careful now is that the almost impossible timelines that we've set ourselves, that we are able to meet those.
That's the question I was coming to. How are you on timelines? Because Republic Day has to happen on 26 January and it has to have 3 or 4 rehearsals before that.
We are doing pretty good on it right now. We're doing pretty good on it right now. We're working hard. These are very challenging timelines, but we are on it right now.
Did COVID lead to any kind of a super spreader, Minister, as was feared at that point of time? If work goes on, it will lead to a super spreader?
See, I'll give you a simple example. During COVID, we had several ongoing projects. I don't call them anything, I'll just call them important projects because they were tied to certain events. Why is it that my friends who are activists against the Central Vista project picked up the Central Vista project and went to the court and saying, please stop construction during the COVID? There were other projects going on. They didn't focus on them. Some of those other projects actually had equal, if not more, people working on them. I think this was politically motivated, and that's why the Delhi High Court, if I remember correctly, actually imposed a punitive fine because even the learned court discovered. So what was it? If the idea is to stop because of the COVID, first, you don't have the project at all. You didn't succeed. That is a challenge which went right up to the apex court. The Honorable Supreme Court said, no, carry on. They did all kinds of things. This gentleman's appointment was challenged at some stage when the court said, but it is an open global design competition. Some 20 companies were listed in the first time, then another 6 were doing, then presentations were made, and there was a jury consisting of 7 of the most eminent people that I know of in the country. Maybe there are other eminent people here, but the point is a jury selected the design, and then the financial bids were open. Now, that all is gone. Now, if it comes to timeline, I'll say I'm more nervous about the timelines than I was about the criticism on it. Because I'll tell you something. As Civil Aviation Minister, I used to have nightmares when this Air India disinvestment was taking. Now I get worried because sometimes when I go there, say the rains have been heavy and therefore we've lost so much time. To me, the answer is then, now that the rains are gone, put extra 400 people, 500 people. But
Is he a hard taskmaster?
Who?
Is he making you do all that?
No.
Yeah, no, these challenges are there. We have to finish. There's
No,
nothing.
but if I were to take the example of Defense Ministry buildings that have been constructed, haven't they been constructed before time?
Well, 24 months ki jagah, we did it in 12 months, 13 months to be exact. But how come the criticism was not on that? That people were in Second World War or pre-Second World War hutments, which are totally dilapidated. Nobody focused on that. Now we got it done. I'm not looking for praise, at least a word of acknowledgement that we got it right.
Okay. So Defense Ministry buildings sorted out on time, in fact before time. Instead of 24 months, 13 months. Will you be able to do that both in Parliament and, Republic Day, you have to do the Central Vista?
Well, it will get done. It will get done.
So tell us what these government buildings will be like, because now you have North Block, South Block, Rashtrapati Bhavan stays the way it is.
Yes, of course.
Vigyan Bhavan, Krishi Bhavan, Udyog Bhavan, all these Bhavans, Vice President's house, and then down the road. All of that gets demolished. Artifacts, National Museum, all of that gets demolished and a new structure comes in place.
The artifacts don't get demolished.
Nothing
The
gets
artifact-
demolished.
nothing
No
gets
historical
demolished.
building.
Everything.
No historical
Nothing gets demolished.
Nothing. The archives, there's a lot of worry that in the archives the papers will be lost.
That's
The idea is that a new annex is to be built. Once the new annex is built and the papers have been moved there from the old annex, after that the old annex will be demolished. Likewise for the National Museum. So it's not as if things are going to get thrown around. It's been sequenced so that things can be taken care of.
All before Republic Day.
No. These are all 2 years and 3 years down the line.
Republic Day
Republic Day is
a-
only the
Just the
avenue.
Rajpath.
Just
the
the Central
Rajpath.
Vista Avenue.
Just that, nothing else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Minister, you've responded to criticism of whether this would result in the Prime Minister's big mehel and all of that. On timelines, how are you progressing in terms of by Republic Day, this is what you'll do, Parliament done, Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, before that you'll be able to do all of that, the new building?
Well, my response to that is that we don't have a choice. It has to be done. And when any organization or any set of people work against that, which means it will be done. One of the, I'll give you an example. You see that beautiful picture there, and of Rajpath leading up to this thing.
Rashtrapati Bhavan.
He and I have had a discussion once on the kind of surfacing that you need. And my concern always was that if you put these heavy duty and heavy load vehicles on it, a particular kind of surface, whether it will work or not. And we had a healthy argument. It went to the engineers, it went to everything. Well, let me tell you, one of us was wrong. And we didn't take a minute to shift to the other medium. That's the point. So this is decision making in real time. I mean, I once went to the Central Vista Avenue, and I don't know, one of my colleagues whispered to me that he or she anticipated that the quota stone that we are using there, that we might run up against a supply chain problem, not in terms of availability, but in terms of time. We sorted it out. So, as I said, 26 January, to have it done by 26 January, I can't say it has to be completed by 26 January. I have to say it has to be completed by end November. That's the deadline, which means that when the slippage takes place, it can't go beyond 15 December. So that's the kind of process that we are involved in. I'm always very careful about what I say because, in today's day and age, this is going to be repeated back to you at some stage. Let me say, with Bimal sitting next to me, that we are both reasonably confident that given the tight timelines, both for these two segments actually are the showcase segments. Why am I saying this? If you get the Central Vista Avenue done by 26 January, you've got your parade. But that doesn't mean just the Rajpath. We have to get the underpasses done. We have to make sure the jamun trees are exactly where they are. I mean, that's where the criticism comes from. And we have to make sure that by October latest, the parliament is done. Simultaneously, other things will be going on. Now, if the other three buildings don't get done in 18 months or 20 months, it's not a embarrassment that you face. But these two, yes. We are reasonably confident and we'll try and get it done. No, try is the best endeavor, we'll get it done. Okay.
You will get it done. Minister, this building, the old Parliament building, used to be patterned on a temple in Morena in Madhya Pradesh, is what some of the articles seem to indicate. The new building is very different.
You're getting your information from WhatsApp, and that's never very
No, it's
good.
not from WhatsApp. No. The information is not from WhatsApp. It was one of the newspaper articles, I agree. But this change in design, why was that done?
Well, I could give you very straightforward functional requirements for it. It's a triangular plot, and a triangular building made sense. We wanted a pure form because there's a circle. You don't put another circle next to it. It looks silly. We wanted a pure form in a triangular plot. The triangle would fit well. Triangle is part of many, many sacred geometries across the world. So that way also it is good. We have three functions: Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, and we have we have the Central Court Hall. So three functions. That's why also triangle. So triangle was very natural as a shape for us to pick up. There was not much debate about it.
Okay. For joining me here on this India Today session, many thanks. Right. Mr. Sethi, Rajiv Sethi has a question. Go on, sir.
One has admired both of you. I've had the privilege of knowing both of you. I admire the courage and the clarity with which you have taken us through this. So my question is, according to a government guideline, 2% of any building's cost ought to be reserved for arts and crafts. Post the pandemic, there are millions of artisans who are really in penury. And I was wondering, how is it the Central Vista project can help them in some way that could ameliorate their suffering at the moment? And how could they add value to what you're doing?
I know this issue. There is a guideline that says we must invest certain amount in art. And indeed, this is part of the project that we are working on already. There are many architectural elements that are craft-based, which is what takes up craft. So there are architectural elements, jalis, for example, etc., that are all craft-based, and that's what is being put in. Given the tight timelines, some of the things might be even put in after the timeline, because particularly the kind of craft that you're talking about takes time. And to be done well, it takes time. So you must create an architecture that can accommodate this over a period of time. You cannot produce art at the speed at which we want the parliament. So for the art it is, but not for the.
For the art, not
for the art, for the art it is. You continue to embellish a building long after the building is complete. Even in your home, for example, you will move into a home and start using it. But you will continue to embellish it over a period of time, and that might be what might be necessary for this thing. So yes, there is a commitment to putting in good art, but good art takes time, and we need to move into this house because that's important. So we're going to move in and then perhaps add afterwards as we go along.
I would just like to add that we are not only sensitive to the point you've raised, but the guidelines in this context will, I think, appear to be conservative, because the intent is to go much beyond the guidelines. That's all I wanted. I wanted him to say it, but he's being cautious. We have people who are already beginning their work. One of our concerns has been that once we have the current buildings ready, because you must have those, because we decided against a hop, step and jump, like 2 shifts. There'll be only 1 shift involved for everyone. So when people are ready to shift out of North Block and South Block into the new Central Vista Secretariat buildings, much before that, we would have completed our thinking on what will happen in terms of the museum and shifting there. Also, what is the scale, both in terms of location, origining, sourcing, etc. And that 1 or 2% has never been a constraining factor. That's the point I wanted to make. But we already set up a small group which needs to expand now. But we are having to work with simultaneity whilst this is going on. And as Bimal says, that once we move in there, but the plans are ready and we are open to suggestions. I keep getting suggestions that, there is this big mural, for instance, done somewhere, which is on building, which I think Mr. Gujral had done, and said they were very worried, will that mural? I said, no, we are absolutely clear. The intent is to take that mural as it is and move it on to its new location, because when that building goes up. Equally, the art and other artifacts which have to go into these buildings and the investment which has to come, that's very, very prominent in the current thinking.
Sir, for joining us here at this India Today special session, thank you very much.